What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of the On Purpose podcast, where you know how it goes. We're excited to share ideas with you, put smiles on your faces, give you something to think about as we go into the next week. And I'm excited to share the message this week. And it's something that's really personal to me. It's something it's a space I've been in a lot in my whole life, and that's leadership, impacting others and coaching. And I wanted to share this week a few things about clues that you're an effective leader. I think sometimes we miss this. We read books and we watch videos and we think, man, look at these great leaders. We don't take time to diagnose them in our own lives. So I wanted to break it down super duper simple. Here's 4 clues you're an effective leader. And my background is, I've been in leadership roles a lot in the military and law enforcement, as an entrepreneur, owning gyms, coaching students, having a gym and a business that relies upon my relationship with others. It makes you a coach, right? Like that's what you are. You're a coach. You're a leader. You have to look at people and go, okay, what's their strengths? What's their weakness? How do I maximize one, build up the other? And it's just something I've been doing my whole life. And as I was getting ready for sharing 4 clues of an effective leader, when I was sitting down with this, it brought me back to one of the first times I knew I was a little different, I thought a little different, that I was willing to lead maybe when others weren't, was the great busboy walkout of 1989. And uh, what that was is I was a busboy at this upscale restaurant, the Officers Club on base, if you will. So a lot of generals and high-ranking military officials in the Pentagon, the Washington, D.C. area came to this place on Sundays for their fancy breakfast buffet. And as busboys, we'd have to hustle all the dirty dishes out of there and stuff. And I'd been working there for a while now, and we were getting paid $3.65 an hour. And the manager had promised us a raise. I'd asked for a raise a few times because we kept going through employees. We couldn't keep other busboys, but myself and Abel, I remember Abel from Ethiopia, we stayed there all the time. So we went in and we told her, like, hey, we need a raise. Like, that'll help keep people here. So she agreed. She agreed to give us a raise, but then the raise never came. And I asked and I asked and I met with her, and it was just pretty cool. I'm a 16-year-old kid walking into a manager's office justifying why we should get a raise. And she would agree, but then not do it. So I came up with a plan, the great busboy walkout. So on a Sunday at 1 o'clock, when the officers club was packed and there was people waiting to get into this fancy buffet, and all the tables were full and people were eating all the fancy stuff they're known for, and all the trays in the corner were filling up with all the dishes, that's when we'd make our move. We'd go on strike, right? 16-year-old kids in Washington, D.C. area going on strike. And that's just what we did. I organized the 3 or 4 other busboys that were working with me. I remember Abel, and I said, okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go tell her, either put the raise in right now, like, let me see you sign the paper that we're getting a raise, or we're going on strike. And they were nervous. They're like, oh, what if she fires us? What are we going to do? And I was like, well, she might, but let's just see. So I walked up to her and I gave her the demands. We need to know we're getting a raise. Right now, we want to sign the papers that says right now the raise is in effect, or we're going on strike. And she told me in no uncertain terms to get back to work, that she would not have that conversation at that time. And I informed her, as the leader of the busboy union, we're going on strike. And that's what I did. I walked back to the busboys. I said, hey, go get my car. We're going on strike. And, this is before cell phones. And when you were gone, you were gone. People didn't know how to reach you. So I told her, I said, call me at my house if you want us to come back to work under the terms of the new raise. So we left. We drove like the 5 minutes to my house, and we sat in my house. And I remember my mom was like, what are you guys doing home? And I told her, we're on strike. We're on strike until we get this raise. And a few minutes later, the lady called, told us to get back to work. She would give us the raise. We walked in, we got the raise. The officers club was a disaster with dirty dishes everywhere, but we got the raise, and I didn't even work there that much longer. But what did it do? What did taking a stand and being a leader amongst your team do? It creates a legacy, right? It lets people know, like, working with you is important and you're going to look out for them, right? I didn't get the raise for myself. I brought the whole team. And then what happened was that became the base wage for all the new busboys coming in. So even the ones that didn't sacrifice and risk going on strike with us in the future got paid better because we took an opportunity to lead. So that story came to mind when I was prefacing this and researching this is, man, like, what are good characteristics of leaders? So here's a few I came up with. The first one, an excellent leader will address their team in terms of we and us, not I, not you, not them, or my team, right? The simple use of inclusionary language builds trust. You go around, you talk to any business, any team, anybody that's working and relying on others for the outcome of their success. Trust is essential. If you don't have trust, you're not going to reach the goals you want. One of the greatest ways to build trust is to use language that lets people know you're in it with them. That I'm not looking down upon them. I'm not separate. I'm not greater than. It's we. It's team. It's us. You take a second one, another one for this is an excellent leader takes responsibility for negative results and gives credit for the positive. A great leader is always responsible for any less than desired outcome. The team didn't meet its goals, production lagging behind, off schedule, individuals having performance issues, not meeting demands. Guess what? As a leader, you're responsible for that, and you had input into that. So before I go out and I want to discipline somebody else, before I want to give somebody else feedback on how they have to improve, the first thing an excellent leader is going to do is go, okay, here's the metric. Here's what I'm looking at. How did I contribute to this? Was I unclear on my expectations? Did I not explain the process? Were the timelines I set unrealistic? Or were the timelines given to me unrealistic and I didn't argue on behalf of my team? So I set them up for failure from the very beginning. Maybe I didn't ask questions of the team to get their input in the process. Maybe I didn't listen to people that know more than me, that may be more invested in than me. Maybe I didn't check my ego to where I didn't have to have all the answers, but that I could ask the right question and get the answers from the experts who are actually doing the job. You see, anytime something comes up short, you are responsible. And the best thing an excellent leader can do is own their part of it. Hey, team, it's my fault we came up short. I didn't explain this clearly. Team, it's my fault we didn't reach this because I didn't clearly explain something to you. It's always your fault. Right? And who doesn't want to work for somebody that's always looking for how they are responsible? And you know what that does? That trickles down to now your team looks for how they are individually responsible. So instead of creating a culture where we're blaming each other, it's not my fault, it's not my fault, it's not my fault. No, it's all of our faults. It's my fault as the leader. I clearly didn't do something right. And then your line level folks go, wait a second. No, it's my fault, boss. I didn't understand this. I should have asked a question, right? Now we have a culture of accountability because it started with you versus a culture of blame and deflect and shuffle around things. Now we're trusting each other because we have an inclusionary language. We're trusting each other because we know if something goes bad, the boss is ultimately responsible for it, and he or she's going to take responsibility for it. On the flip side, things go great. Guess what? You didn't do it. Pass that down to the team. Pass the recognition down to the people that did the job. Tell them specifically what you appreciate that they did. Tell them, congratulations. I saw you do this. That's fantastic. You helped us reach our goal. right? We don't need to own the credit. The credit belongs to the team. The team wants to know, hey, when things go good, we get recognized for good, just like sometimes we get recognized when things aren't going good. In such a negative society where it's easy to be critical and look for all the things that are bad and wrong, sometimes an excellent leader has to take a break and go, wait a second, deep breath, let me reframe this. I'm going to go out today and look for the good in my people. What are the people around me doing good? Right? And the first thing I say is, oh, you just said my people. Oh, as a boss, you got to check that, right? Why are they your people? No, you're their supervisor. It's the team. So I check myself there and say, okay, let me get straight. I'm going to go out and look at the team and recognize the greatness I'm seeing out there. Right? So we got inclusionary language. We got leaders that take responsibility for shortcomings and praise and deflect the recognition to the team. Here's another trait of excellent leadership. You call a meeting and you speak last. Right? You give the team the problem and then you let them go around the room and give inputs based on their experience, based on their expertise, based on why you have them in that position. If you've hired everybody on this team to just sit and listen to your opinions, you don't need the whole team. And you definitely didn't need to do that meeting. You could have just sent an email. They could have read all your opinions. Right? So when you call a meeting, give the team a problem and then listen as they solve it. Create a safe space where there can be dissenting opinions amongst team because you need all their opinions. And somewhere within the disagreement is probably the best, most well-rounded solution to meet the needs of the organization. Meetings where no one speaks or everyone agrees with you is not a sign of a high-functioning team. I would argue the opposite. If I have a meeting with people that are getting paid good money to be leaders and they are just sitting there silently to endure getting through it as fast as possible and as painlessly as possible, we are dysfunctional. We are dysfunctional. If I'm surrounded by people that always agree with me, guess what? I don't need all of them. They already agree with me. Nobody grows in agreement. We grow when I get to understand your nuanced perspective because I don't have your skill set. I get to grow when I hear your opinion from all your experience that I didn't have. Right? So we have inclusionary language. We take responsibility for the negative or the shortcoming. We praise, we deflect the praise and the recognition. We speak last at our meetings. We listen more than we talk. We create a safe space so that dissenting opinions can be heard, so that we come up with the best and most well-rounded solutions. And how about this one? An excellent leader can end up working for or alongside of, at the same level, one of their former subordinates. Think about that for a minute. You could end up working for somebody you used to supervise. How's that successful? Won't your ego take a hit? I used to be in charge of you. Now you're in charge of me. Not only an ego that's not in check would take a hit, the others would go, wait a second, that is fantastic. If I am living up to the standard, the old slogan that says a good leader doesn't create followers, they create more leaders, right? I want people that have been led and supervised by me to out-achieve me at some point in their careers. As your career winds down and theirs is ramping up, they should be moving past you because you've given them a foundation for success. You didn't hold back and try to keep them down for your ego. You trained, you coached, you empowered them to become better than you. You see, your leadership ceiling should be the floor for those coming up behind you. As good as I've gotten should be the least good you will be because I'm going to give it to you and boost you from there. When you are leading, you are creating the future of whatever organization, whether it's your family, a business, a company you work for, or a business you jump out on your own and create. You are creating the future. You have an opportunity to leave a legacy so that other future leaders remember you and they understand the importance of building others up, not tearing them down. You see, there's enough success for all of us in the world, whether we're entrepreneurs, coaches, we're in production, we're in government work, whatever we're doing, there's not a finite amount of success in the world, and we have to get our peace and hold our peace away from everybody else. No, success is abundant. And it's a lot more fun to achieve when we do it with others, when we're uplifting others, when we're bringing others along with us, versus trying to be successful by holding others down. See, a good leader is part of a team. They own their mistakes. They recognize the good. They want to hear dissenting opinions. I want to know what you really think. I'm going to speak last. I'm going to listen more than I speak. And this doesn't just apply to business. It doesn't just apply to where you work. What if we take these characteristics and we apply them to our family? What if we intentionally look for the good our kids have done today instead of pointing out the things they came up short with? What if we ask the opinions of others around us? What if in our friendships, we don't just surround ourselves with friends that agree with us and dismiss everybody that maybe has a different political view or voted differently or feels this or that on a certain topic, but we're actually inclusionary and we go, hey, tell me more. Why do you think this? What if we apply these principles to our life? See, leadership is in all aspects. Anytime you have the ability to influence another human being, you can lead them and you can lead yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode and 4 clues of an effective leader, and challenge yourself. Look at yourself. Go, hey, wait, am I doing this? Am I doing that? And if you're not, let's fix it. And if you enjoyed this episode, please do us a favor. Help us reach more people around the world by liking, subscribing, sharing on the podcast platforms. Join us on YouTube, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. It just takes a minute of your time to click like or subscribe, and it means a world of difference to us and our community as we continue to pursue our mission of being one of the most impactful podcasts in the world. Have a great week, everybody.